Welcome to Wildcat Science with Mrs. Haugo. This is Human Biology, Chapter 8, Part 6. And today we're going to talk about the muscles of the thorax and abdomen. So, there are the intercostals, the diaphragm, the rectus abdominis, the external obliques, your internal obliques, the transversus abdominis, and the pelvic floor muscle group. So looking at the intercostals, so please write this down. They will elevate the ribs. The external intercostals elevate the ribs, and then the internal intercostals depress the ribs, and they connect the rib to the rib above it and to the rib below it. They aid your diaphragm in breathing, and they help expand or shrink the size of the chest cavity. So taking a look at intercostals, that means it's in between like the cartilage. So you have your, not cartilage, but rib, costal. So you have in between the ribs, which is exactly where it is. The external are going to elevate when you breathe in, and the internal are going to depress the ribs when you breathe out. So breathing in expands the chest cavity, breathing out shrinks the chest cavity. And so they work with the diaphragm when you breathe. We have a little video we're going to watch when we're in class. And then you can see the intercostals are there. And there's a different video. Okay, moving on to the diaphragm. It helps with breathing, which is inspiration. You inspire, you breathe in, and then expiration, expire, you breathe out. Okay, they connect the ribs and the sternum to the vertebrae, and when it contracts, it flattens during inhalation and your ribs expand. And when it relaxes, it returns to the dome-like shape during exhalation and your ribs return. And this is going to separate the thoracic and abdominal cavities. So let's take a look. Diaphragm is kind of its own unique word, but it is involved in breathing. And it's going to connect your ribs, which would be here, your sternum here, and then your vertebrae back here. So it's this whole crisscross of muscles make up your diaphragm. You can see there's holes for blood vessels and your esophagus. So this is a little bit different than what you think. When it contracts, so in its rest position, it's dome-like. When it contracts, it flattens. And when it relaxes, it comes back up to the dome-like. And so this is important because when it contracts, it flattens, and that also your ribs expand. And so you get a bigger volume of, your chest is a bigger volume, so your lungs expand, so air moves in. You don't actually breathe in. What you do is your body makes your lungs bigger by making your chest bigger, and then air just moves in. And so on the other way, when it relaxes, it flattens, and your ribs kind of return to a smaller volume during exhalation. So your chest cavity is a smaller volume, and so then there is more pressure in your chest than outside, so air just naturally moves out. So we don't actually breathe in and out like pulling air in and pushing air out so much as we just expand and contract the chest cavity, and then air does what it does naturally. So I think that's kind of interesting. Also, we know the diaphragm is a good marker because it separates your thoracic, your chest cavity with your heart and your lungs, from the abdominal cavity with all your intestines and stomach and all that good stuff. So moving down to your abdomen, we get to the rectus abdominis. So this flexes the abdomen, bringing the pelvis towards the sternum, flexes your vertebral column, which is bending forward, connects the pubis to the sternum, specifically your xiphoid process and the ribs. And it's the six-pack, and everybody has it, but you don't see it in everybody because, like me, there may be a little layer of fat that hides that six-pack, but everybody has a six-pack. So let's look at the words. Rectus means the fibers are straight, and it is found in your abdomen. So it is going to flex the abdomen, which brings your pelvis towards your sternum. So like if you were to bring your legs up, you're going to be using those muscles. If you're on the floor, bringing both of your legs up, or it flexes the vertebral column. So if you bend forward, you're going to be using those abdominal muscles. So bending forward is going to be contracting them. And the rectus abdominis connects the pubis down here up to the xiphoid process, which is part of your sternum. And then also it connects to this line of cartilage, the linea alba. And then in class we'll watch that little video. Okay, moving laterally, we will go to the external oblique, which is here. And that has more jobs. It also flexes the abdomen, but it also compresses the abdomen, is involved in lateral flexion, spinal rotation. So, has a lot of things it connects to. The ilium and pubis, to the ribs, and that abdominal connective tissue I talked about, the linea alba. And it is the outermost lateral abdominal muscle. So let's look at the words a little bit. External means it's on the outside, obviously. Oblique means the fibers are running at an angle. And that is going to flex your abdomen. So put your hands on your sides and bend forward, and you can feel that you are using your external obliques. It's also going to be compressing your abdomen. So hands on your sides, and then try and bring your belly button to your spine. And you'll see that you use those. Lateral flexion is where you flex on one side. So it goes one way and the other. And then spinal rotation is where you are rotating your spine. So it helps do a lot of different movements. It connects the ilium here and all the way down to the pubis, and then up to the ribs, connects to the ribs, and then to this linea alba, this connective tissue. And it is, again, the external outside lateral muscle. Okay, we'll watch a little video in class. And then deep to that are the internal obliques, right there. And what is the same? You may write this, but you don't have to. It is involved in flexion, compression, lateral flexion, spinal rotation. It also connects the ilium and the pubis to your ribs and to the linea alba, that connective tissue. But what is different? It is the innermost lateral abdominal muscle. So there's another one in there, but this is the one on the outside. And the direction of the fibers are opposite the external oblique. So you see the oblique, external obliques are going this way, the internal obliques are going this way. And then we have a different video to watch in class as well. Moving deeper still, you have the transversus abdominis. So this is the deepest of the abdominal muscles, and it is going to stabilize the core. It's really important in stability. compress the abdomen, and it aids in posture. Okay, it connects to a lot of things. It connects the lower ribs to your lower vertebrae, your lumbar vertebrae, to your pelvis, the iliac crest, and then this inguinal ligament, it actually attaches to a ligament, and then to that abdominal connective tissue, the linea alba, and the pubic crest, kind of down here. So let's look at the words. Transversus means it has horizontal fibers that go horizontally, and it's found in the abdomen. And it will stabilize the core. So when we talk about core stability, more than the rectus abdominis, that six pack, we are talking about your transversus abdominis. So, yeah, crunches aren't so good for this one. More stuff like plank. And this is one I really had to work on when I broke my back. When I had a fractured vertebrae, we really working on this one, and we'll talk about some exercises for that. But if you put your hand on your belly and you try and bring your belly button to your spine, your transversus abdominis was involved in that. And it's also very important for your posture. We'll watch a little video about it. And here's another picture of it. It is this deepest one. And that is going to stabilize the lumbar vertebrae and your pelvis before you move any of your upper or lower limbs. So it's really important for core stability, because before you can do anything out here, this transversus abdominis contracts and keeps the vertebrae and the pelvis where they need to be. Also, it compresses the abdomen, which will increase the pressure in the abdomen, so your body can expel substances easily. So feces, urine, vomit, babies during labor, during all of these situations, you would be using that transversus abdominis. And like I said, it is the innermost abdominal muscle. Just a quick review of those 4 abdominal muscles. On top, you have the rectus abdominis. It is the most well-known, and that's where you would get a 6-pack if you can see those muscles. The external abdominal obliques, the internal are deep to that, and they are running in the opposite direction, those fibers are. And the transversus abdominis is located under the obliques and the rectus abdominis, and it is the deepest of the muscles, and it wraps around your spine and your abdomen for posture and protection and stability. Our last muscle is actually a whole bunch of different muscles, the pelvic floor muscle group. So its job is to stabilize the core, and it aids in posture, also maintains urinary and fecal continence. It supports those pelvic organs like your bladder, intestine, and uterus. And it's like a little muscular trampoline connecting the coccyx to pubis bone and the left and right pelvic bones. So it's going to stabilize the core. When we're talking about core stability, we would be talking about this little trampoline of muscles that are going in a bunch of different directions. So this is something you really want to strengthen to have good core stability and good posture. Also, so that you don't poop and pee your pants when you're older, because it's really important to have a strong pelvic core to have control. So continence is having control of when you go to the bathroom. Also, it's like a border for those pelvic organs, the bladder, the intestines, the uterus, so they don't kind of fall through. And like I said, it's like a little muscular trampoline. It connects the coccyx back here to the pubis in front, and the right and the left. All right, those are your abdominal muscles. I will see you next time. Bye.